All right, everybody. Welcome back to the BSB. Another edition, week 6, 2021 season. I'm Sean Kaus,
I'm Tony James.
and we are your betting strategy brothers. Tony, today I was just thinking about, we started this last year as, hey, let's help out some people. Let's teach them what we do. We're teachers. Let's teach them. And we kind of, let's help them and let's just have fun. And
Mm-hmm.
it's we're a third of the way through now, our second season, and I can't believe what it's become. I always knew we always have fun talking football and betting and everything like that, but I never thought it'd be this fun. I never thought I'd look forward to this. So I really want to thank you for sticking with me. I want to thank the fans for being here. We love it. We love having you guys. Hopefully you guys learn something. Hopefully you pick it up. But as always, we cannot guarantee anything we do. This is for entertainment purposes only.
100%. No, I really enjoy doing it too, Kaus. It's fun, like you said, and I even though like we're supposed to be teaching people, I'm learning from you just as much as some of our fans are learning, which is fantastic. So anytime that I can take information from our conversation and use it to my advantage at the window is always a good thing. So I appreciate that very much.
Yeah, I agree. Any information when you're trying to make bets, even if it's bad information or good information, it's still information. It's something you can use to make an educated decision when you're betting. There are, even if we said, yeah, we guarantee it, there are never any guarantees when you're betting ever.
Nope.
So I mean, you just got to take it for what it's worth. So any information you can get is good information.
I believe in the business they call it data-driven decision making. I don't want to get all like hoity-toity business analyst thing, but we're taking information, we're making the best decision on it. We're looking at trends, just the same thing as you would do if you were like betting on the stock market or something like that. So if you kind of look at it that way, then you're like, oh yeah, I see why you're putting all the work into it and see why you're doing what you're doing with this bet and why you're not taking this team, etc.
Yeah, and we're hoping we help out. I know last week when I was in Vegas last weekend, um, I took a friend with me, and he never been to the window before. If he had, it hadn't been in a long time to even make a bet, and then
Mhm.
to even cash a bet, and he won bets, and so he was, I was there with him, and I still helped him out, but he definitely felt more confident having an idea what to do. And that's what it's all about. Now, it's a little different at the window. You got numbers, you got stuff like that. But it was definitely, it made him feel more comfortable. And he even said, like, I still was nervous. I still didn't, but at least I had some idea what I was looking for. I knew I
Mhm.
wanted to do a teaser, which I wouldn't have done before. So that's our goal. And that's what we want. And it made me feel really good to be helping him out like that.
That's awesome, man. I'm glad you guys had fun.
Absolutely. Well, what else do we like to do on this show there, brother?
Drink. We like to drink. Let's talk about our flavors of the week. This week I have I have my favorite brewery around here, Evans Brewery. Very cool vibe there. I've got a fresh cut wet hop IPA. These things are very, very good, very crisp, very quick to take effect, if you know what I mean. So I'm going to have one of these today, and then I'm going to save a couple of them for tomorrow because I have a long day of football watching tomorrow. What about you? What do you got over there?
Heck yeah, that sounds amazing. Now, my favorite beer of all time, I had it last year. I put it in maybe one or two episodes. But my favorite beer is Labatt Blue Light, like of all time. That's all like when I used to go every time I go home to Buffalo, that's all I drink when I'm there because I couldn't get it here. Now I
Mhm.
can get it here, and it's I try to always have it in my fridge, but I hadn't had it in a little while. And today I got it and got a nice case of it for today and tomorrow.
Mhm.
And I'm doubting it'll make it to Sunday, but I hope it does. Um, and excuse me, and tonight when I cracked my first one and had it, and it's been a little while since I had one, I was like, oh man, I forgot how much I love this beer.
Yeah,
So
I had one, or actually I think I had a couple. They just opened, I think it was like 6 months ago, they opened a Anchor Bar over by Angel Stadium. And so some buddies of mine and me, we went and watched an Angels game. We pregame there, and man, it tasted just as good as I remember it too. So I'm looking forward to taking you there sometime, and we can go have one or six before a game.
I can't wait. Can't wait.
All right. Well, let's get into how we did last week. Kaus, I'm going to let you go first because you have a laundry list of victories.
I had a great week. It's my best week this year. I think it's my best week ever on the BSB. A couple weeks ago, I had another really good week. Last week, 2 weeks ago, not so much, but last week I came back pretty strong. I won both my straight bets with Buffalo and New England. I took both of them on the money line. Buffalo, I put 35 to win 43. New England, I put 40 to win 10. And I'll tell you what, on our last show, I was worried. I'm like, man, this is guaranteed. That's why it's 40 to win 10. And I watched that game. Oh, boy. But they pulled it out, and I won my bet there. I lost my six leg parlay because freaking Cincy doesn't know how to kick a goddamn field goal. And, Vegas didn't show up. I'm sorry. But I did win my AZ Buffalo parlay 20 for 45. And then I had an 8-leg teaser that I won. Now, let me be clear. It was 8 legs, and I still won it. However, in that teaser, I had Carolina +3. Carolina lost by 3, so that bet pushed. Since that pushed and everything else won, it actually became a 7-leg teaser. So my odds went down. So I still won it, even though they pushed. They evened out. They didn't lose, so I didn't lose it. But it evened out and it brought my legs down. So it went from 30 to win 390 to 30 win 210. But I still won that 210. And the rest of it was with Buffalo, Arizona, Chargers, Cincy, that was on a teaser. So they were like +9, I think. Tennessee, Tampa Bay. So that was a big hit for me there. I won my Joe Burrow over 1.5 touchdowns, 20 to win 18. And then way back when, we forgot to do some of our futures. I was looking back today, and I did have, and this is kind of funny, it's more the money back for my bet I'm worried about, but I did bet that Trevor Lawrence would be the first pick in the draft. I bet $10 to win 20 cents. Woohoo! But I still got my $10 back from that. So last week overall, I bet 165. I got back $462 plus my 1020 I got back from my future, my 100 for the week. I'm pretty happy this week.
That's amazing. That was a fantastic week. I'm super proud of you. You did what you had to do, man. You came out ahead. That's really good. I didn't have as good of a week as you, but I didn't have a bad week. I won my Arizona San Francisco under straight bet. So I was 33 to win 30. I lost both my parlays, my college and my pro parlay. Lost my Friday teaser due to Florida International, but I hit my 14 teaser on Saturday. It was Texas, Arkansas, Mississippi over, Wake Forest, and Iowa. So that was 21-52. Lost my Sunday teaser due to Washington and lost my prop bet. So I bet 138. I got back 135. So, I mean, that's pretty good, man. That's nearly break even. Plus, I had an old future of the Braves winning the NL East. So that got me another $7. And then I've got my 100 for this week. So, you know what it is? It's another week that I don't have to go to the ATM to go place my bets at the window. And that's a good week.
Heck yeah, it is. And your Boise is not a state bit you in the butt last week, which I don't think anybody saw that coming.
Jiminy Christmas.
I
sometimes, and we were talking about this earlier, it's like sometimes things are just weird, right? Like Boise looks like crap for 3 straight weeks, and then they come out against ranked BYU and beat them, and beat them pretty good. So, it just goes to show you that, even if you look back at trends, you have a team trending down versus a team trending up, they still have to put on the pads and play.
That's why they play it.
That's exactly right. So Yeah, what are you gonna do?
I agree. So last week when I was placing my bets, I had 725, and
Mhm.
now after everything, I've got 1,038.20 plus the weekly 100. You started at 549. You got 558 now plus the weekly 100. So we're still doing all right.
You're kicking my butt, but I haven't had to go to the ATM. I'm happy.
Correct. I like I said, we always hope for the best for each other, and we're both doing good. So, all
All
right.
right,
So
let's get this show on the road.
let's get into this week's picks. We always start with our straight picks, and this week I got two straight picks, just like I did last week.
Mhm.
First of all, I'm staying with my mafia guys. I don't know if you're watching this. Hopefully, you're watching this on YouTube. If you're listening, you can't see. My good friend Scotty got me this Buffalo Mafia jersey. He was back in Buffalo this summer. It did not jersey hoodie, and I love it. It's amazing. So I'm going to go start with them. I'm taking Buffalo on the money line. It's only 40 to win 16. Look, Tennessee, they're going to be better now that excuse me, Julio Jones is coming back, but they're still facing Buffalo's defense is the number one defense. They got their third against the rush. Okay, they only allow 78.4 rushing yards per. Say Travis Henry's going to run, and yes, Travis Henry's going to get his yards, but I'm guessing it's going to be, even though he leads the league with 640 yards rushing yards in 400-yard games, I think he's going to have like 50 yards.
Mhm.
Buffalo's got the highest scoring offense, stingiest defense. Buffalo wins this overall. Tannehill's been sacked 20 times in the first 5 games. 20 times, and it's not going to stop with Buffalo. So, and I think Buffalo showed that against KC. They know what to do. And I really think the biggest thing here is Tennessee's defense is too weak.
Mhm.
Kansas City showed a terrible defense. Tennessee's defense is not as bad as theirs, but it's close, and Buffalo's just going to make them pay for it. So I see that happening there. So my 40 is going to win me 16 when my Bills win on Monday. My other straight bet is going to be another favorite. It's going to be the Rams. They're 40 to win $10. Now, remember last week I did 40 to win 10 on New England, and that scared me. It
And you had
got
to
close.
sweat it out. Yep.
I had to sweat it out, but I did win it. But I'm doing the same thing here. But look, this is a totally different situation. You got the Rams, and I understand it's in New York, but it's in a dome. It's the Giants, who are Saquon Barkley less. You got Daniel Jones who's coming off that concussion.
Mhm.
You got just New York is not good, and now you're going to make them even worse by not giving them Barkley. LA's only allowed 4 sacks, and New York, it only has 8 total. So they're
8
not going to
total
get
sacks.
8 total sacks. So they're not going to get to Stafford. They're not going to make him uncomfortable. He's going to throw all over the place. New York's allowing 27.8 points per game. Like, there's nowhere in here that I can see that bodes well for the Giants. They're 9-24-1 against the spread at home, and 7-18 against the spread as home underdogs. So I'm not even messing with the spread. I'm going straight money line, but I think Rams are gonna blow them out.
I think the Rams win this game for sure. Yeah, you're right. Nothing on this game says, and even if you look at the defensive rankings, the Rams defense is 26th, the Giants 29th.
Yep.
So it's almost like the Giants aren't winning in anything in the statistical categories this week. Buffalo, don't you feel like that win last week, last Sunday night? That do you think it was a changing of the guard, or do you think it was just Kansas City's just struggling right now, trying to find themselves?
Look, I don't think it's Kansas City trying to find themselves. I think it's a Kansas City is getting figured out, and they're not sure how to counter that. And don't get me wrong, I love Andy Reid. I think he's a great coach. I think Mahomes is phenomenal. He's athletic, but they're kind of like what I always say about Kyler Murray. And so a lot of what they do is based on athletic ability. How many times do you see Mahomes running around and throwing a crazy pass? Like, that's not it's not, that's the play is not designed. Hey, your pocket's going to break. You're going to run around and you're going to throw it back. Like a lot of that's athletic ability. And now people, like, if you look, I was watching about Leslie Frazier talking about Buffalo's D, and he had to write a big thing on his play calling. Be patient. He called like 2 blitzes the whole game because it was, let's keep Mahomes in the pocket and let's make him throw the ball. And he saw that on film. When Mahomes has to stay in the pocket and throw the ball, he is not as effective as he is when he's on the run making stuff happen. And I think everybody's starting to get smart on that, starting to get wise on that. And then they're going to say, look, Kansas City's defense is terrible. If we can just hold Mahomes and not let him go totally crazy, and we can outscore him in a shootout, that's what happened. So, yeah, maybe a little changing of guard. And look, Buffalo's on the redemption tour. They took it to Kansas City last week. They're going to take it back to Tennessee this week and beat they're on a revenge tour here. And yes, it could be a letdown game for them, but I don't think Buffalo's going to let them after what happened last year. I don't think, and the previous year to Tennessee, I don't think that's going to happen this year. But yes, there is a changing of the guard a little bit. But I think it's more of, yes, I think Buffalo is better of a team than Kansas City, than Tennessee, than all of those. I think they're the best in the AFC, and that's not just being a homer. But I think it's more of everybody's figured out Casey, because it would be different if Casey went in this game 4-1 or, into the Bills game looking like that, or 4-0 or whatever. But the fact that other team, the Chargers, have figured it out, I think the Chargers are Buffalo's biggest threat right now. So I don't necessarily know. Yes, it's a change in the guard where Kansas City's always been the top, but I think it's just more people are figuring out Kansas City now.
I tend to agree with you. I think teams were starting to figure them out last year. I think that's why you saw the performance in the Super Bowl that they had. The Raiders beat them once and almost beat them twice last year. And I think their strategy was, if we can stop them one more time, then they stop us. But I think you're right. And it doesn't help that, their running game is not great. And so, yeah, it seems like Mahomes is having to do a little bit more. And look, the NFL is these guys are good. I mean, I'm not trying to be like patronizing. These guys are good, and eventually they will figure you out. They did it with the read option when Kaepernick was having his fun with the read option. Within 2 seasons, they had him figured out, and he's out of the league. They will figure out the Chiefs, and they will figure out Mahomes. And if you take away a couple of his weapons, he's less effective. And I think Buffalo is a team on the upswing. I think they've done everything right the last 3 or 4 years. And you're starting to see the fruits of the labor now.
Yeah, I agree. And they're starting to use the run game this year a little bit more, which makes them even more effective. For sure. All right. So what do you got on your straight picks?
Well, you know what? I'm going to keep riding the old Homer mobile here. My first straight pick is Las Vegas on the money line at Denver. I'm going to put $20 on it to win 34. Look, Vegas is just in turmoil right now. This was probably 10 of the darkest days for that organization that there's ever been. And so why am I betting on them? I think they come out and make a statement. This is their season. And they were, 2 weeks ago, they were 3-0 and everything was great. Now they're 3-2 and falling fast. This is a game that they have to win to keep pace. I saw the things that Derek Carr had to say. He's coming out as like this great leader for this team, and especially at a time when they need leadership. I just think they come out. This has like not a whole heck of a lot to do with stats and just everything to do with mindset right now and where this team is at and what they need to do. I think they come out and win this game. I think they win it decisively. I see this game being like a 28-10 game. So I just took Vegas just based on, they need this more than the Broncos right now.
I agree, and I'm glad you said 28-10 because there was a little nugget I found when I was looking at this game that the last 9 times these two teams have faced, the under's cashed 8 of them. 8 of them the under has cashed. So
Yep.
28-10 puts it under 43. So I like that. I agree. It's always refreshing to get a new coach called different ways.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what a lot of the bye week does for people too, is gives them kind of a refresher of, okay, let's recall some plays. So traditionally, and I don't have stats to prove this. Usually we talk about stats and stuff like that. I don't have stats to prove this, but I feel like when a coach leaves, regardless of the reason, when a coach leaves mid in the season, during, when there's games being played and still games to be played, traditionally that team comes out the first week and wins. The first week it happens. Basically, say, screw you guys. We're not just the coach. We are a team. We can win without them. After that, who knows what happens? But usually the first week without that coach, they usually do well. And like I said, I don't have the stats to back that up. It's just more of a feeling than anything. But I mean, look, you had it when Stanford had that earlier this year. Like, they came out, they won their first, and then after that they lost. So I have a feeling that if you're going to bet on Vegas to win, this is the week to do it.
Well, yeah, I think they call it the new coach bump, I believe is what the business is called. But you're right. It seems like when a coaching change occurs, the team all of a sudden has this fire, even if it is temporarily for 1 week. They come out and seem to take care of business. And you know what? Seems to be across sports too. It's not just a football thing. You see it in most sports. The team will change their leadership, change a coach, change a manager. You'll see for about 7-10 days it'll be on an upswing, and then they come back to earth a little bit. So yeah, and this is, once again, I know the Raiders won in Denver last year on a made 2-point conversion. They lost the year before in Denver on a missed 2-point conversion. I don't think it comes down to a 2-point conversion. I think they have a lot to say this week. I think they're going to win this game for themselves.
Yeah, and they're coming off a tough loss, and dealing with all that, and now they might, head clear. Let's go at it. So I like that bit. I don't like that enough to bet on it, but I do like that pick.
Well, then you're really going to hate my next one, because
I already do. I already know where you're going, and I already am not happy. I don't even want to talk to you right now.
Okay, so then I'll just put it up there, and I'll just say that I've got Tennessee covering 5.5 at home against Buffalo on Monday night. I think they try to shorten the game. I don't think they win. I think they play it tough. It's going to be, even though they haven't had Buffalo is their defense is so good right now, so good. But I still think Tennessee is just going to try and hand the ball off as much as they can and try to beat Buffalo down. And we may not see it in the first and second quarter. They're gonna try to win that game on the ground in the third and fourth. But by shortening that game with the running game and turning it into a game of fewer possessions, that 5.5 becomes bigger because the score is the opportunities to score decrease. And so if Tennessee is successful at shortening the game, will they win the game? I don't think so. I think they lose this game 21-17, 28-24, somewhere in that ballpark. But I do think that 5.5 is too much at home for Buffalo or in Tennessee for Buffalo to cover. Not saying that Buffalo is going to lose. I think Buffalo wins, but I just don't think they win by a lot. I know you're going to tell me every reason why I'm wrong here, and that's okay.
Yes, but look, you're talking. This has to be a one score. It's a touchdown. Like, okay, you're saying that Buffalo's going to lose by a field goal or win by a field goal, not a touchdown. And look, I could maybe see what you're talking about. Tennessee, I'm not sitting here trying to say Tennessee's a bad team. I just think Buffalo is too superior. And here's the problem. Even if you say, okay, Buffalo's offense is way better than Tennessee's offense. However, Tennessee's going to run the ball, slow the ball down. They're not going to get the ball in Buffalo's offense's hand as much. They're not going to score as much. Okay, fine. I can see your point on that. The problem is that when Buffalo has the ball, they're going to score at will. Tennessee's defense is too terrible. Whereas Buffalo's going to get at least a stop or two. At least. So now you're looking, Buffalo's going to score at will against terrible defense. You're looking, even if it's just one stop, Buffalo's going to have that touchdown. I don't see Buffalo settling for many field goals here. I can't see where the 5.5 come. But once again, I will admit, man, Vegas usually hits these right on the head. So it's hard to argue that, but
I'll take the one stop from Buffalo. That's I think I would totally take that, or one more stop, I should say. The statistics say that Tennessee actually has a better offense than Buffalo. They're eighth in the league. Buffalo is ninth, but it's mostly on the ground. On the ground, Tennessee is third. Through the air, they're 26th.
I don't know what you're looking at here on that ranking of offense. I don't know where you're getting that, but when I'm looking total yards, yes, Tennessee is 8th and Buffalo's 9th, but passing yards, Tennessee's 26th and Buffalo's 9th. Rushing yards, Tennessee is 3rd, Buffalo's 5th. Points, it's not even close, 1st to 10th. Third down, it's 4th to 20th. Like I don't know how that averages out to Tennessee being better offensively, but we can look at stats all day and get different results. But
that is 100% right.
Either way, Buffalo's offense is way better. Anyway,
well, let me ask you this: do you think Buffalo's a better team this year than they were last year? Because Tennessee beat them by 26 last year.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Well, okay. And don't forget that game last year, okay? And I know excuses are excuses, but don't forget that was the COVID game. That was only the second Tuesday game. That was the second Tuesday game from like 1946 was the only other Tuesday game. Like, that was totally – and don't get me wrong, I'm not making all sorts of excuses, but there is some logic in that. Both teams had to go through that, but
you're exactly right. It was one of those anomaly games that I don't think you saw Buffalo perform that poorly the entire season. It was just one of those
But to answer your question, yes, Buffalo is 20 times better than they were last year.
Okay, so Tennessee should still cover this.
Whatever. All right, let's move on to parlays. I'm done with this. Let's move on to parlays. All right, I'm going my parlay this week. I got 3 of them.
All right,
my first one, I'm going Saturday. Okay. I will say, I will freely admit, a good whenever you want to be the best at something, you got to find your weakness. And my weakness is college. I usually don't win the college games. I think I got it this week. Last week I won everything. You'll notice I didn't have any college games. But this week I'm going back and I'm throwing a home run. I know it's against logic, but it's just there was too many that I feel it was too much where I couldn't do it. I got Michigan State playing at Indiana. They're and once again, this is money line, so I'm taking them without the points. I think they're going to roll Indiana. Michigan State is just, I think they're great watching them play. They just look amazing. I just can't say enough about them. Florida versus LSU. I have Florida on the money line. Look, my only worry here is that it's at LSU. That's my only worry is that, okay, it's in LSU, but LSU is terrible this year. So I'm not too worried about that, but that's where I'm worried. I got Colorado visiting U of A. U of A is god awful. I don't think they know what the field looks like.
Nope, they're awful.
Iowa, man, they showed some people last week what they are. They're playing a Purdue team that's okay in Purdue, but I think Iowa showed last week that they're number 2 for a reason, and they're going to keep it there, and they're going to roll them. I took Kentucky. This one worries me a little bit. But you got number 11 Kentucky at number 1 Georgia. Georgia studs, and I'm not at all thinking Kentucky can win this game. But if you're going to give me over 3 touchdowns plus 21.5, with a decent Kentucky team against a Georgia team, I think Kentucky can score twice, and I don't think Georgia is going to score 5 times. Maybe 5 times, but even if they score 5 times and Kentucky scores twice, I still win by half a point. I'm good. So that's the only reason I'm taking Kentucky plus 21.5 is because it's over 3 touchdowns. Look, Bama wins on the money line. Bama is having a quote unquote down year, but they're at Mississippi State. They're number 2. They're going to roll them. I took your advice on the UCLA. I've been taking the over ever since, and I love it. And it works for me. UCLA Washington over 54. That comes up. And Nevada at home. Nevada's a better team than Hawaii, I think. But on top of it, Hawaii's never good when they travel. So I think your Wolfpack wins that game. So my $20 is going to win me $291.
Yeah, those are all solid. I am with you on Kentucky as well, and I think here's the thing that's alarming to me, and it's not so much from a little bit from a betting perspective, but more so from a college football perspective, is like you're trying to tell me that the difference between the best team in the SEC or the best team in the SEC and probably the third or fourth best team in the SEC is 21.5 points. That seems to be kind of a problem. So, I mean, there's like a huge gap there between the top 2 in the country even, and then the rest of them. And I think that's going to create some sort of competitive balance problem later on. But I agree with you. You're going to give me 21.5 points. I'll take the 21.5 too, and I'll take my chances. Yeah, this is solid. You're going to have another week where you're cashing in over $400 on your 100, and that 8-teamer is going to be one of the reasons why.
I agree. And somebody texted me. I was talking to somebody earlier. Oh, you think Michigan State, Purdue? And I'm like, look, they're Indiana. Sorry, they both played Penn State, and Michigan State fared way better than Indiana. And I don't even think Penn State's that good. So I'm that's all I got to say about that game. All right, my next parlay is
it Sunday?
It's a Sunday. I'm back on Sunday. It is not early or late. Sometimes I get on that train, sometimes I don't. But this time I'm not. But I got a couple underdogs in here that one I think should be, one I don't think should be. So I got Jacksonville. Jacksonville, I don't think should be underdogs. Miami's getting Tua back. Tua's coming off an injury. Some people say that they were better with Brissett than Tua. I don't know if I agree with that, but he's come back off an injury. He's going to be a little nervous. He's going to be a little scared. Jacksonville's been, I don't want to say close, but they've been close a couple of times. They're going to find their way. I think they're over the Urban Meyer thing. Honestly, I think the Gruden thing took stuff off of Urban Meyer. Jacksonville can now be, and I mean, they're close. They're still a young team. They're close. They're going to win the game. They're not going to go over. And I think this is their best chance to win it. And I think they do win it. And as a Bills fan, I always hope Miami sucks. My next one is Indy. Look, Indy playing Houston. Houston's terrible. Indy. I was impressed with Indy last week. Carson Wentz didn't look terrible. There were a couple of times where I was like, wow, he looks fantastic. Well, statistically wise, he really doesn't look that terrible. I think Indy finally puts it together and gets a win over Houston, just more so because Houston's god awful. And Indy is 12-4-1 against the spread playing against Houston. So, like, I think that bodes well. Then we got the Chargers. Look, the Chargers, like I said earlier, they are Buffalo's number one. I think Buffalo, the Chargers, and Baltimore are the top 3 teams in the AFC, and I think it goes in that order. Okay, now you got Chargers and Baltimore facing the other one. Now, the only reason I think the Chargers are better than Baltimore is because, yeah, Lamar is great, and I'm not taking anything away from Lamar, except for the fact he can't protect the goddamn football. He fumbled it like 10 times last week on the 1-yard line. Like, I mean, it wasn't that much, but when you fumble the ball the 1 yard, like, granted, yes, he came back and he won the game. I understand that, but when you're not going to have that luck against better teams when you don't protect the ball. And I think the Chargers are too good for that to happen. And Lamar, I understand that he's doing everything himself and he's got to take some chances, but sometimes he doesn't protect the ball when he's running. And that's where you see those turnovers. And then, of course, I got Buffalo. So my 25 is going to win me 195.
Yeah, I just remember that opening Monday night game against the Raiders, and Lamar put it on the ground twice. It cost him the game.
Yeah.
So you're right. He's not. Look. He gets out in the open field, and good luck. But if you can get a little bit of pressure on him, and he puts that ball on the ground, forget it. Just
I
forget
agree.
it.
Well, and Baltimore is. I mean, they're playing early for them. They 3 of their 5 games have been at night. Now they got a day game.
Yeah.
It's going to be weird for them.
The only thing that concerns me is the Chargers having to travel.
Agreed.
But I mean, look, I'm historically a hate watching Charger fan. Like I just watch them. I don't even care who you're playing. Chargers. I'm just rooting against you every single weekend because I out of spite. But dang, they look good.
Yeah.
They look really good. They've got it all put together. And you know who I feel bad for is Anthony Lynn, because he's the one who had to deal with the BS, and then he gets canned, and now he's in Detroit, I believe. And now the new coach takes over and he gets to reap all the rewards. And it's like, look, this team was on the right track before, and you gas that guy, but
Yeah, but
it is what it is.
I agree with you in some aspect. I don't think they jumped this good, this quick with Linz at the helm. I think eventually they get there. I don't think he would have got them there this quick. But I do agree with you. Look, Baltimore is also on short rest. I mean,
That's true.
It just doesn't. Nothing stacks up. And something else, and it was funny. I always look at the weather, see what the weather's doing, so I can look at overs and stuff like that. I swear to Christ that I looked at every football game this Sunday and Monday, and unless they're in a dome, it's going to be 60 degrees everywhere in the United States on Sunday, because everywhere was like, hey, we're raining on Friday or Saturday, and by Sunday it's going to be 60 degrees and cloudy, and that's it. No rain and nothing. I'm like, and everywhere. It was like everywhere they had an open stadium. That's what's gonna be. I'm like, I don't know what's going on with the weather, but it was kind of, you never see everybody having the same weather.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. That's
weird.
Goofy.
All right, and then I got one more parlay. I got Buffalo, I got the Rams, and I got the Colts. And my 20 is going to win me 23 because those are all favorites, and we've already talked about all of those. So that's just a security blanket to try to get some money back.
I like that strategy. Yeah, let's talk about the strategy on that. That's a really good strategy because you're looking at it and you're like, you know what? Here's 3 that I think have a really good shot of coming through. Let me recoup a little bit of money that I may lose. Maybe Jacksonville just doesn't come through for you, but hey, if Buffalo, the Rams, and Indianapolis come through, you've covered that bet.
Exactly.
So that's a really good strategy.
Exactly. Yeah.
All right.
What are your parlays this week?
I have 2 small ones this week. I have a Saturday and a Sunday. My Saturday is all overs. I've got UCLA and Washington over 54 for the same reason that you mentioned before. If Chip Kelly is at UCLA, at Oregon, it's always been let's bet the over and see what happens. I'm just going to keep feeding that horse here and see what happens. And I'm also taking Texas, Oklahoma State over 60. Texas looked really good last week. They put up a lot of points. Now, whether or not that's just a rivalry game or if Oklahoma just isn't as good as we thought they were, but Texas their offense seems to be getting it together. I don't think Oklahoma State wins this game. I think Texas wins. But if Texas wins this game 40-21, there you go. There's your over, right? So just a small one there, $15 to win 37. Just a couple of overs. I really like betting the overs. I think I've said this before. I don't like betting the unders because I like rooting for points, and I don't like rooting for defense. And I think
although the under hit for you last week, but
this is true. This is true. You're right.
I agree that I think that, I mean, we talked about UCLA, and I think Texas, Oklahoma, both of them after last week, it's going to happen.
Yeah, I think the Longhorns are finally getting it together here. And man, that game last week was so much fun to watch. Holy smokes, it was back and forth. So last week, Texas put 48 up on the board. The week before, they put 32. The week before that, they put 70. The week before that, 58. I mean, like, I think that between them and I'm a man. I'm 40. I think they'll get to 60.
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly. I like that bet. What's your NFL one over there?
My NFL, I went PM games. I went Arizona, Cleveland over 48, and Dallas on the money line against the Patriots. I'm a little worried about Arizona now that they found out that they're not playing with their head coach. But I'm banking on Kyler Murray to make some good decisions.
It's not even they're not playing. Okay, here's where it bodes well for you is that Nick Chubb is out. If Nick Chubb was in, I would say, dude, and I'm not even talking about winning the game. I'm talking about the fact that if Chubb's in, they're going to run, and they're still going to try to run the ball with the Hunt, and I don't think they're not going to. But I just think with Chubb, with both of them, they're just going to run, and it's going to slow the game down, and you're not going to get to the over. Now that Chubb's out, that very could well happen, but man, everybody's hurt or COVID or whatever for Arizona. It's a different feel when your coach isn't there. And I'm going to give Kingsbury all the credit in the world for Kyler taking the jump this year that he did. I don't know if Kyler is mature. I don't know if mature enough is the word, but I don't know that he's ready to do it without his coach there.
Well, I think maturity is 100% the right word.
It's, does he have that security blanket of, I know what to call. I know what the call is going to be. I know how to, of course, all the NFL quarterbacks audible and stuff like that. But it's, you can go back and talk to him, and this is what happened when he's not there. That takes a little bit of element, and I'm not going to say he's playing scared, but he might not have the same intensity that he does. And the play calling might be a little different than he's used to. Mm-hmm. And so that kind of stuff worries me a little bit about the over there. Mm-hmm. And also Dallas. I mean, Dallas is legit. I think New England almost lost last week because it was a letdown game, but they should have beat Tampa Bay the week before. Yep. And I think they're going to give Dallas the same run for their money that Tampa did. So I put Tampa in a teaser, New England in a teaser later on because I was just too afraid to touch that. I could see that going either way, but it's going to be close. So that's why I didn't touch it. So I hope for your sake it is Dallas on the money line, but man, that scares me.
Yeah, well, and that's one of the reasons why I took him on the money line. I know the spread is only 3 or I think it's 3 at this point. But for that exact reason, like that Tampa Bay game was incredibly close. And for the reason that you said 2 weeks ago, you said you give Belichick a chance to game plan against his former quarterback, and he's going to come up with a game plan. I just think that Dallas is I think they have something to prove this year. After Prescott missed pretty much the entire year last year. And then the whole contract issue and is he good enough to be the leader here? I think they're on a mission, man. I think they actually might win a playoff game this year, believe it or not. Only one.
And it's hard to argue. Here's a stat that sticks out to me in this game.
Yeah.
If New England loses this game, it will be the first time since Bill Belichick's been in New England that New England's going to start 0-4 at home. First time. Wow. And I don't think it happened. Plus Elliott, he's going to play. He's not, but he got hurt last week. Ribs. He gets another shot to the ribs. I mean, ribs are tricky. That's a tricky. You can't really splint them. You can wrap them, but it's not like a broken finger where you can cast and something. Like, I mean, they're still going to be exposed. I'm sure he's going to have extra padding there, but you get hit in the ribs once. I mean, that hurts, man. I don't, and I'm not saying, these guys are pros. They're tough. They're, but man, I don't care who you are. That's going to affect you a little bit. And I'm sure he's going to come out gangbusters, but if he gets hit right there and they take Elliott out, man, that's going to change the game. And I don't know. I hope for your sake you're right, but I don't know. I was too afraid to take that.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. Well, we'll all find out on Sunday for sure.
That's right. All right, let's go to teaser.
Let's do it.
This week's teaser, I only have one. But I got another home run, seeing as I hit mine last week. I always love teasers. Teasers they make the odds more in my favor, the point spread more in my favor, and I'll take that all day long, even if it lowers my odds, which is why I take so many teams, so I can still try to get better odds. Jacksonville, I got +9. I already think they're going to win. Indy -4. I think they're going to blow out. I would probably take them in a pleaser. Chargers, I think they're going to win. So if I can get them at +8.5, why not? Cincy should have won last week. If they freaking knew how to kick a goddamn field goal, they would have won. But since he's a team on the come up, they're not giving enough credit as it is. I understand they're at Detroit. They're in a dome. I don't think Detroit's going to go 0 for either. But I don't think since he's the team that comes out and beat him. Look, Chase Young, second rookie wide receiver with 450 yards and 5 touchdowns in his first 5 games. Randy Moss is number one. Is the first one. So and then you're looking. Burrow is chasing Marino as the only quarterback in his first or second year with multiple TD passes in the first 6 games. So you guys when you have that good of a tandem there, it's hard to lose. Now, the only thing that's not in my favor there is they're 1-4 against the spread as a favorite. But and Burrow hurt his throat. He got hit in the throat last week, and talking was weird. And we all know as quarterback that's not a good thing. But it sounded like he was going to be able to okay this week. I do worry about that a little bit. But I still think since he wins this game, no doubt. Arizona, I'm taking them +9.5. We already talked about that game and who's going to win. And I would take Arizona if Kingsbury and everybody was not injured and not COVID and not this and not that. I just think, and not that Cleveland's not missing a lot, but when you take away the head coach, that changes dynamic. I'm not saying they can't win without him, but it does change it. And I worry about that. But I think either way, it's going to be close. So if you can give me 9.5 points, I take it. Excuse me. Same thing with New England. Give me +9. I'm going to take that. I think that's going to be a close game too. Buffalo +5.5, and then the Rams -2. We talked about those already. So my 20 is going to win me $260.
I see lots of green in your future, and it's not just a Jacksonville helmet.
All right, what do you got? You got a college one and a pro one here.
Yeah, because I just can't leave well enough alone. I try to take your advice a little bit and kind of go with a little home run on Saturday. I've got the Golden Gophers +10.5 against Nebraska. I'm surprised that Nebraska is actually favored in this game, considering that they're 3-4 and on the road. But if I can, this is more to do with strategy more than anything else. If I can get that spread up to 10.5 at home, I'm going to take that 10.5 and take my chances. I like Iowa -5.5, Kentucky and Georgia. You talked about earlier how you're taking Kentucky +21.5. I'm going to tease that over down to 38.5 and take my chances there. Taking Colorado as a pick. Fresno, Wyoming over 47.5, and Arizona State +6.
Go Devils!
My 25 will win me 150. Man, I really like how ASU's playing. The loss a couple weeks ago was kind of sucked, but overall they're not playing bad, man. They're not playing bad, and they're playing a Utah team this week, which is kind of up and down. And I like them on the road.
ASU wins this, they win the Pac-12 South. There's no doubt about that. And they got a good shot to give Oregon a run to win the Pac-12 and get into December 6th or 7 or New Year's 6 or however you call it. I forgot.
Yeah, and Oregon went to the wire tonight against Cal. So
correct.
Not a great Cal team either. So
correct. Well, and then here's the only other thing I will say as a strategy on this. Your 25 is winning you 150, right? Mm-hmm. So you're getting 6-1. I like that. I like better. Here's what I would have added to this game. I would have put Kentucky into this teaser. I would have put Kentucky, made them +27.5. Now your odds would have went up, and you would have had a lot better. But other than that, I think you got a winner here.
That's a true statement. You're right. I should have thought about that for sure. That's a great point. All right, for Sunday, I've got Cincinnati as well. I've got Carolina +8 against Minnesota. No CMC, but I think once again, this is more of I'm getting 8 at home. Yeah, and Darnold's playing pretty well this year. Like he's made that jump. I don't know. And then you look at it, it's like, was it the system he was in? Is it just that he's better now because he's been in the league for 3 or 4 years? Yeah, I don't know, but things seem to be clicking with him. I took the Chargers as well, Green Bay as a pick, and over Chicago, and Kansas City, Washington over 48. So that will bring me $84 on my 20.
Yeah, in that that Carolina, I stayed away from that game altogether. I don't know. Sam Darnold's better than, and I think Sam Darnold is getting, I don't want to say too much praise, but like you're not praising him there, but you're giving it, but he's 6 touchdowns and 6 interceptions. Like I don't think he's better than he was in New York, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to say their winning is due to CMC and the defense, not to him. And without those two performing, I don't think at 8 Minnesota doesn't blow anybody out, so I think that's a good bet. Mm-hmm. But other than that, I straight up I don't take that at all. But I think the rest wins for you. Cincy talked about Chargers, KC, Washington, 2 terrible defenses right now. So why not put up some points?
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, I mean they're like the worst 2 defenses ever. And then my only worry is Green Bay. Chicago looked good, but Rodgers is 21-5 against Chicago. So I don't see them losing, but Fields scares me, man.
So, and you make a great point about past history, right? 21-5. So if you were, let's say that you were betting this on its own, right? If you would have bet it the last 26 times, 21 times you would have won. Well, shoot, let's go to the well again, right? For a 27th time and see what happens. You make a great point, but then again, anything can happen, right? And Fields looked pretty good last week. I'm not going to lie.
He did.
So,
but was that just a 1-week fluke? You know what I mean?
True. We'll find out for sure. All right, you got a couple of props here that I really, really love.
Look, Jacksonville's going to win the game, I think, but they are a first half team. When you look at, I think like 4 out of 5 games that won the first half, or maybe it's 3 out of 5. I can't remember exactly. But they're a first half team. So if I can get them in the first half plus 2.5, my 20 wins me 17. I'm going to take that all day long. And like I said, I think they win. And then I'm going to Pittsburgh. Najee Harris over 74.5 rushing yards, 30 to win 24. Look, Pittsburgh won last week, and they look like a different team. I don't want to say Ben found the fountain of youth, but he definitely looked better than he has all year. And Pittsburgh looked better than they have all year. The main reason I'm taking this is not Pittsburgh. The main reason I'm taking this is Seattle. You have a Geno Smith-led Seattle. Even though, funny stat about Geno Smith, he's 5-0 against the spread in his last 5 starts, which was like 12 years ago with the Jets, but he's 5-0 against the spread.
Wow.
But with no Chris Carson, no Russell Wilson, Seattle has no shot on offense. I mean, they got a little shot, but not much with Geno Smith. So I'm taking this more of Pittsburgh is going to just run the ball. They're not going to let Ben ruin the game for him. They're going to give it to Najee Harris. They want Najee Harris really to get going, really to start going. What's he going? The team going? I think they give it to him. I think he has over 100. So I'm going to take over 74.5, and my 30 wins me 24.
You think most of those yards are in the second half after they try to just put the game away, or do you think that's just?
I think Tomlin comes out. He's too disciplined for that. I think he comes out and run, pass, run, pass, and he balances it.
Okay, all right, that's interesting. I really like that. I don't think, man, this just seems to be that year for Seattle where just things are going to go sideways for them, and they're not going to make the playoffs. And
bye Pete Carroll.
Yeah, well, and then you got to go back to all the hubbub during the offseason where Russell Wilson, does he want out? Does he not want out? okay, well, now if you don't make the playoffs, is he going to want out again? And do you accommodate him, or
Yeah, but
pay him more money?
when they don't make the playoffs, I mean, you can't blame anybody for dude's finger was sideways. I mean, come on, you can't. I don't think you have the drama again because I think it's going to be more of a what would have happened instead of it's not like he played the whole year and then shit was just crazy. It's he's going to miss like 6 to 8 weeks. Like you can't blame that on him or the coach staff or anybody.
Yeah, just one of those things that happens, and you just got to throw that away. All right, well, let's go to my prop bets. You're going to hate the first one, I'm sure. I've got Buffalo winning, but I have them winning between 1 and 13 points. That $10 is going to win me 11. That actually goes pretty much spot on with my straight bet of Tennessee covering the 5.5 point spread. So we talked about this earlier when I showed this to you, and you're like, "What are you doing? You're betting against yourself." And I said, "No, I'm doubling down. I know it's going to happen, and I'm going to put my money on where my mouth is twice in this case." So I've got Buffalo winning by between 1 and 13. They win by 14 or more. Yeah, I'm out. I don't win that bet.
I always want you to win, but this ain't a bet you're going to win. I'm sorry, brother.
And then I've got my good buddy Pad Statford throwing over 2.5 touchdowns against the Giants, $10 to win 12. Man, you know what? I'm not going to lie to you. I thought that trade was a bull crap trade to begin with, and that shows you why I am here, there, because he looks fantastic.
I agree. And you know what? You know what's funny? Lost in that trade is the fact that Goff, stat-wise, Goff is not having a bad year. And Detroit is like 3 field goals away from being 3-2. Like, yeah, they're over, but they've lost last minute. I mean, it's Detroit. That's how we lose. Like Buffalo, we lose wide right. Detroit lose on last. I mean, it's like, but it actually worked out well for. I mean, neither one of us thought Goff was that great, and we both thought Stafford was better. We didn't see that big of a comparison until this year, but Goff is not looking terrible either. But I agree with you on this bet. Look, Stafford, the only thing I worry about is, are they just going to run it down their throats instead of try to pass it the whole time? I think Stafford easily gets 2. It's that half where he has to get 3 that worries me a teeny bit, but I still think your money here.
Yeah, you're 100% right on Goff. And, it's one of those, and like, look, this is week 6. We've seen 5 games with the players on different teams, but this might go down eventually as one of those trades that both teams win, right? Like one of those quote football trades.
I would agree.
The Rams want to win yesterday, and the Lions don't want to win for another 2 to 3 years.
Yep.
So, yeah, that'll be cool, man. That would be cool if that happens.
I agree. All right, everybody. That is the end of our week 6 edition. I hope everybody has a great week. I hope we all take down Vegas. Let's get their money. They got too much of it. Let's put it in our pockets. I'm doing my part. Tony's doing his part. At least they're not gaining money on us. That's for sure. I hope you all enjoyed. Please please share, put it out there, guys. Talk to me, message me, text me, whatever. I love it. Please keep it going. We love doing this. Remember, this is just for entertainment purposes only. We do not guarantee anything. But BS, I love you. Have a great weekend.
You have
Bye, everybody. Well. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. See you later.
See ya.